Hello, my beautiful creative friends. How are you today? So, one of the things that I love doing on my channel is really working on with recycled materials, things that are, inexpensive, that we can reuse, that we can use from around the house, that we can we can use um, to use in our art that doesn't cost a lot of money that we've used before. And one of the things that I love using is baby wipes, used baby wipes. And this is the one actually that I did. If you watched my live last week, this was the baby wipes from that I used to make this one with the Vaseline technique. I used the magical powders, like the watercolor magical powders, and I wiped off all the excess with these beautiful. And what I like about baby wipes is that they become they have this really cool effect. It looks like tie dye or ombre, whichever way you want to say. And you can accumulate quite a lot this way. And what I did is instead of using color in my art journal, I actually used a baby wipe. And I think so. There I have three different ones here. This one is like the most intense in color. Then I have like a medium version of it. And then this one has more white in it. So depending on how you want your background to be, you can use different baby wipes. So I think I'm going to go with the medium. I really like this one. It has some really nice effect. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half because my art journal is about 3.5 by 5.5. It's pretty easy to cover, and I like sometimes working with small art journals because not only are they easy to finish and cover, they're very attainable, and I like that because especially when I'm doing a live, but not only when I'm doing a live, and if I want to create, and I like when I create, I want to finish a project. I like finishing a project. It makes me feel good having something accomplished, something finished. So that really helps. So I'm just going to work with this other one over here. I have two of them so I can show you what I do. And this is basically what I'm doing. I'm going to cover both sides. I want to start with this one. And to do that, I'm going to use some gel medium. I don't know if you can see, but there is like a little bit of white around it, almost like it doesn't fit. But when you start using the gel medium, it will fit perfectly. So I'm just going to take a paintbrush, and in this case, you can use the fluid medium, which is like, this medium, it's a more liquidy, the matte medium. But I'm going to use a little bit of a thicker gel. It's like a soft gel, just because it's just easier because it's fabric. The baby wipes are actually made out of fabric. It's much easier to, it's much thicker and it's easier to basically stick them together. So I'm going to glue this here and then seal it. As you can see, what happens with the baby wipe is that it actually, when you start wetting it a little bit, it stretches. It actually stretches, and you can stretch it a little bit and it reaches the end, which is perfect. Okay, these are not, I don't like these. They're making too much noise. So, oh, hi, everyone. Okay, there is people. I don't know where people went. Okay, so basically, I just use the gel medium to glue it. And I want to make sure that the half of the baby wipe covers the seam of my art journal. If you're using a square art journal and it's the opposite way, then just turn it around, or you can use two baby wipes to do it, depending on how big the journal is. So you can like use a small journal, a big journal. It doesn't really matter, right? So it's just a matter of what your preference is. But I wanted to make sure that I seal it, so if I add anything else, it will not interfere. So there is half of it. Okay, there it is. And with everything, I like sealing with gel medium to make sure that that it protects the surface. I'm just going to close to make sure. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so that works well. And then I'm going to use the second half to do the top here. And this way, I'm going to line it up exactly here. I don't want to overlap it. I just want this one will just reach the seam so I can cut at the end. So let me just put some more And why I like this size because you can actually follow everything from the other one that I made. So it works well that way. So you can actually see what's happening. Okay, so now I'm going to, I think I'm going to do this side better. Okay, so now it stretches. So I know that I can stretch this all the way. And a little bit here. That's the nice thing about fabric, and then it works perfectly. And I'm just going to seal this one as well. So there we go. That's like basically the background. It's such an easy background to do. Honestly, like you basically have it already done for you. So it's almost like using a collage paper or like a tissue paper, but it's so colorful and it looks tie-dye and it's perfect. So basically, within 2 weeks of these lives, I created this first art journal, which I, with the Vaseline technique that you might have seen last week. I will link that one at the end. And the baby wipes that I used to wipe from here, I'm using this week to create an art journal. So it's like recycling. It's basically not wasting anything, which is really, really great. Now I'm going to put this aside in the meantime because I want to show you what I'm going to use next. So to create a little bit of like texture on top, I am going to use some tissue paper. And the reason why I love using tissue paper, this is the Tim Holtz collage paper. It's called, well, whatever. Oh, it's a Halloween one, actually. I didn't even know. Doesn't really matter which one you use. I like this one because it has these really pretty flowers. So that's the reason why. So I'm going to be using these two flowers in my actual layout. So why I like using tissue paper is because when you use gel medium with it, it becomes transparent. So you can actually see the colors underneath, which is really good. So this one here will be for the bottom. So as you can see, this flower can be here for the bottom. So, oops, you could kind of rip it if you want to. So the edges are not perfect, or you could cut it. So there's two options that you can do. Cutting it just makes things a bit faster, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. So there is one. So there is this one over here. Okay. I might need to like cut a little bit out of it. And then there is the second one that goes at the top. So, and you'll see soon what I do with it. Like you're not going to see these like lines. I'm just like first just putting things to make sure that they fit properly. So this one will kind of go here. And let me see. Yes, I think like this, or did I put it the other way around? Oh, I think I put it this way. Yeah, I think I put it falling this way. And this is too long, so I can just like cut this one because I can use this leaf somewhere else. So you can just create like your own pattern. And yeah, you can make your own tissue paper as well. So if you have flower stamps or anything like that, you could just stamp your own flower onto a tissue paper and use it as well. There we go. So this is good. Okay. So that works well. Just want to, okay. So this is basically the bottom and that will be the top. And I'm going to fill it all throughout. So before I dry everything, since I already have gel medium in there, I don't even have to dry the other part. I can just basically glue this tissue paper onto my background. And it looks so cool. So once I dry, I will cut underneath. I just didn't get a chance to yet to cut. So I'm going to cut this extra piece that is here. And as you can see, because the tissue paper is almost like see-through, it's so thin, it becomes part of the background. It almost looks like the flower is blue. It doesn't almost look like it. The flower looks blue. So it just like saves so much time because you're adding this pattern, right? And it just looks like it's part of the background, which is, I think, really cool. So adding tissue paper on top of color, even if it's not a baby wipe, is perfect. I'm gonna glue this part. And yeah, so let's, yeah, I think like this. Okay. And then this one over here. So it's like part of the top. Now you can make anything fit into anywhere else. Like you can make things fit into other places easily. So that's the beauty of things. Okay, so I'm going to dry this now. It's still wet, but I just want to, in the meantime, I can just grab and cut a little bit. So just take this opportunity to cut behind. Okay, and it's just a little bit more dry. So it's just so pretty. Like sometimes you can't even get this type of effect trying to do it with actual colors. That's the cool thing about this, that you're using something that looks almost like tie-dye, and you wouldn't be able to really, it's really hard to get this tie-dye effect, like an ombre effect in the background. So it's I mean, it kills two birds with one stone, basically. Like you not only like recycle, but you're also like creating something beautiful with it. Okay, so the next step is using my white gesso, and I love using my white gesso because that's where like you start kind of building the composition and kind of hiding things as well. So I'm going to start using the gesso, the white gesso, in the edges of my tissue paper to kind of hide things, okay? So what I want to do is kind of hide the edges so you don't really see what what I did here. And you can extend. So you can use a paintbrush for this as well, like by pouncing it. I love pouncing it. And that's what happens. You kind of hide everything. So there we go. And you don't even need so much. I used like so little of this. I still haven't even dipped it back into this thing, to the lid. I like working out of the lid of my containers because my jar of gesso is really big. Now, the nice thing about using also baby wipes like this is that your color is not going to transfer because it's already ingrained in the baby wipe. So, and I already sealed it with the gel medium. So yeah, so it's really cool. And it's like you see, look, we're 20 minutes into it, and I think I wasted a few minutes even for it. We're 20 minutes into this project, and look how far I am already. So it's just super easy to just use something like the baby wipes to create. And look how nicely it hides, right? You can't even tell that what I had here, that I had all these like lines everywhere. And what I wanted to create is a little bit of movement. So I'm going to take like my palette knife and just add a little bit of movement with the same gesso I already have. So this, I can create like upward movement. I can add a little bit more gesso if I want to. And that is like, it just kind of frames it all, which is really nice. So like the texture that it creates is really pretty. And the baby wipe also creates like a really nice texture. It's kind of like everything together. That's why it's called mixed media, because you're mixing so many different products together to create a really nice design. And there you go. I don't want to cover too much of it because I will still want to have the colors, right, everywhere. So that's why I think this is enough. And if you'll see, like, it's really not, it's so super easy to do. Now I'm going to add some splatters. Just looking for a good brush. So all I'm going to do is just kind of take, even with the same white gesso, I'm going to water it down a little bit with some water, and that helps to create pretty white splatters. So I'm going to add some splatters here, and just a few. So look, I like, honestly, I've used what, 3 products. I've used the white gesso, I used the gel medium, 4 products if we count the baby wipes, I guess, yeah. And I use a tissue paper, and that's it. And that's basically, you can create sometimes with so little amount of product. You know, it's just a matter of just creating for fun, creating for creativity. So yeah, I like that. Actually, I like this one big splatter over here, and I can remove that. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to just dry this again, because the point of mixed media is building layers upon layers upon layers. So that's the beauty of it. So the next step is to add a bit more texture and kind of bring it all together. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stamp a little bit. And I love stamping because it's just something that like really adds beautiful texture. And I'm using the exact same stamp I used last week. And the reason why I do that is because I want to really show you that you can use, like, you get so many uses out of one stamp, out of one set. So you don't have to continuously buy. You can just like use the same one and create more texture in different art journals. And this is, I really like this one. I listed it below, but I really like this one because it looks like a ledger. And I'm basically just framing things with it. And not only does it create movement, but it kind of now looks like the tissue paper continuum, and it's just one big layout. And that's the whole point of adding layers. Like at the beginning, it doesn't look like that, but as you start adding more and more layers, things start coming together, and it starts looking like it's all one, and you meant to do this. So you have the gesso, the tissue paper that you can see, and you can really see in this one, in the new one, you can really see the blue. I think I had more white underneath this flower, so you can't see it as much. And I think the more intense the colors are of the baby wipes, the better it's going to look when you add the tissue paper on top. Besides tissue paper, I also added some butterflies, and those are rab-ons. You don't have to be rab-ons. You can use tissue paper as well. You could also use, how do you call this? You could also use, what's the other thing I'm thinking of? Napkins. Okay, so any of those things would work as well. These are just even the same butterflies I used last week. Honestly, I just want to show you that you can just use and reuse things all the time, and that it really makes, like, it really helps. And you can buy like rab-ons on like Amazon. And these are $49 in market, but honestly, like, I've used the ones from Amazon. They're pretty good. Okay, I want a little butterfly here. That is kind of maybe this one, kind of like reaching this flower over here. Okay, and one more. I think maybe this one. This one, I like this one better. So it's super easy to add. I just like because then I can like just easily embellish something, and then you can just add a sentiment as well. What did I just say? That is, do what you love and love what you do. I like that. Yeah. Okay. So that's another thing. Like, I just find that you can really create easily and quickly by just, recycling things. Do what you love and love what you do. There we go. So here you have basically the two of them so easily. I don't think why it took me less than half an hour to finish a whole art journal. I didn't even think it would take me this little bit of time, but that's like unbelievable. It's never taken me so little time. So that's really good. So one art journal in less than half an hour. I really am surprised, like myself. So and if you want to see the Vaseline technique, I'm linking it right here. Anyways, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed, and bye everyone.